In this video, I'll be painting this portrait using the Kuretake watercolors. Let's get started. So first I'm going to sketch my portrait, and I am looking at a reference image, but I just looked on Pinterest, typed portrait, and I think I picked maybe the fourth picture that I saw. Now that I have my sketch, I'm going to set this aside for now so that I can open my new Kuretake watercolor. So I just want to thank my sponsor for this video, which is me and my husband. He's my #1 supporter, and I'm just so grateful for him because he believes in me always. The inside of the box came with this swatch sheet, but I don't think it's a sheet because it's in a box. But anyways, here I'm just going to swatch every single color so that you and I can see what they look like on paper. So right off the bat, I really like the colors. They look so cohesive to me, and they have this earthy feel, and they look really creamy. And as for the feel of it on in my hand as I'm painting, it feels very thick. Like, even though I'm using normal amount of water that I'll use with my M-gram, this one feels thick to me. And that's not a bad thing, it's just how it feels. So here I'm just going to swatch a color on my paper first, just so I can see what it's like when it's on the paper that I'm actually using, since the color sheet on the box, it's a little soft, like there's no texture at all, and so it's just good practice to swatch on the actual paper that you're using so that you can see more accurate swatches. Now here I'm just using my kneaded eraser to lighten up my sketch so that it doesn't show up on my painting. And on that note, just a quick tip: if you need to erase your sketch on your paper, do not use a hard eraser because it can damage your paper, and that will affect how your watercolor will look on the paper. When I paint, I have two approaches, and I decide based on my mood. And so the first one is working in sections. So sometimes I'll start with the eyes and then jump to the hair and so forth. And this second approach, which is what I'm doing here on this painting, is working by colors. And so I pick one color and I use that, and basically, since it's also my first layer, I use it to block my shapes and just map where the colors will go. And I'm not stressing at all if I miss an area that uses the same color, because I can always add that in. And again, this is just the first layer, so no stress at all. All the materials that I'm using here, like my watercolor notebook, the brushes that I'll be using, and the Kuretake watercolor, will have their links on the description, and they are affiliate links, so if you do order from those links, I'll get a small commission. Speaking of materials, I want to be transparent with you guys that good materials do make a difference, and I know that they can be pricey, but if you're on a limited budget and you're trying to decide which material to invest on, do the brush first, because it will give you control. and next to the paper so that it doesn't warp on you or get destroyed, and you can layer as much as you need to without being worried of it ripping. And then of course do the paint, and you don't have to buy an entire palette. You can start with just the primary colors, and that's how I started with my Winsor & Newton professional watercolor tubes. I didn't buy all of them at once because that's really expensive, so I just bought one at a time and mixed my own colors. So, to be honest with you guys, I kept thinking while painting this portrait that it looks so bad, but I didn't want to stop because I know that usually it looks bad before it will look good. So, make sure you're also giving yourself grace and time to see it through when you're painting. Oh, and I do have a Patreon, and there's a free membership, there's a tip jar, and the inner studio tier. So I will really appreciate it if you join my Patreon and support me there as well. And I will make sure to share content that is still valuable even though you're a free member. The inner studio tier members will be able to have access to exclusive blog posts and videos like my tutorials, and will also receive my snail mail every month that will have either a print or a sticker. I am new to this, so I do have a lot of room to grow, so I'll appreciate any kind feedback so that I can continue to improve. And feel free to comment down below any content that you'd like to see from me. So watercolor dry slider, but I noticed that with this watercolor it is staying true to what it looked like when it was wet. So I think that was really interesting. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself that I need to trust the process. So I hope you do too. It's now time to add the highlights, and this is actually one of my favorite parts because highlights just brings the painting to life, and I love witnessing that. So here I'm using my white ink from Kuretake as well. So my final thoughts about this watercolor is that I think it was worth it. It feels high quality to me and I enjoyed using it. Even though it's in a pan, It activates really well and it turns into this thick opaque paint, and throughout the painting session it sometimes would make me feel like I'm using gouache. So I think this paint has so much potential and I'm really excited to use it in my other painting sessions. I'm almost done with the painting, so I just want to take the time to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.